Always a lot of great things happening around town. One of the more fun spots on the planet just so happens to be in West Des Moines, known as the Funny Bone.
Oh,
and
you look much smarter now.
Yeah, you look very nice. You look good. Looks good on you. Doug Thompson is here. He's headlining at the Funny Bone this weekend. Yeah, he's over here now. He's over here now. But this guy's from Cedar Rapids, so he's one of us. He's an Iowa. That's very cool. How about that, man?
Yeah, we're gonna go 4-0. They always say don't look into a hypnotist's eyes. Can you try not to look at those?
And that's what we were talking about earlier this week. You're a comic hypnotist.
Yeah.
Now, how did you combine these two things?
I took my comedic background and kind of figured out a way to make the people on stage, if they're not being funny, kind of accelerate them to be funny. Bring the funny out of them, almost like poke fun at them, like the Don Rickles of hypnotism. So you have fun with them to make sure that the crowd sees it as funny.
So what came first, the comedy or the hypnotism?
Comedy, definitely.
Comedy did.
Yep.
So where do you go to learn how to
I was going to say,
hypnotize
how do you
people?
wake up one day and like, I'm going to be a hypnotist?
I got hit in the head with a wiffle ball bat.
Oh, okay, that happens.
It's not hard to learn. What's hard to do is to be good at it and get the people to trust you, because that's all hypnosis is trust. You got to have people trust you. You guys are looking at me like, no, yeah, right.
No, I can.
Nobody trusts you. But just get their trust, and it's not hard to learn to do hypnosis. What's hard to do is create a good show. There's so many guys that make it almost like clinical while they're up there, and the funny goes away. And I saw that as an opportunity to take comedy, put it in voices, you know, maybe put in Billy Bob Thornton, maybe put in Matthew McConaughey, you know, rub some cocoa butter on her chest a little bit, something like that. Christopher Walken sometimes will show up and talk to the people. You never know.
Oh, cool.
Does it help the trust if they're hearing a voice they've recognized, you know?
Well, it's funny to watch people's reactions when they think, but it's also funny because sometimes I'll get them mad. I'll get them real mad at me, and then I'll say, well, I got my buddy here, and, you know, Soprano shows up, take it easy, what's going on? And then they all of a sudden get real nice to you, like, oh, okay. So it's just a different way of doing it, kind of my own spin to make it unique, to make sure the people in the crowd are always having fun, and the people on stage. That's the whole goal. Is the show's never, I'm not the star of the show, the people on stage are the stars, and that's why I want to make them shine, you know, make them be the big part of the show.
How long have you been doing this type of show?
Coming up on 5 years.
Wow.
Doing that, so yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So you try to hypnotize the whole crowd, and whoever falls comes? Or
no, I ask for volunteers, and that's a great question, because people, because that would be tough. The biggest thing is getting their goal of them wanting to come up. That's my whole goal. And if I have people that don't want to come up, then I know the show's going to be a little tougher, because now I got to work. But I get them relaxed enough to come up, and then, you know, explain to them. Last night when people were leaving, I asked the guy, I said, so how come you didn't come up? He goes, I was nervous. I said, now that you've seen the show, would you come up? He goes, definitely. So. Well,
that's what, when you go to a hypnotist at a comic club, you're going expecting and hoping that other people will go up, at least in my case.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And I'm always blown away that there are people that do, like, yeah, make an idiot out of me. But and some guys do.
Some guys do. There is dirty shows.
Yeah.
I don't run that kind of show, mainly because I have a wife and 2 kids, and my kids are tech savvy enough to look at the internet, and I don't want, Dad, what are you doing to this lady here? What's going on? Well, don't do that. Do as Dad says, not does. So.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to regret the fact they ever walked on stage, because that's the whole thing. Is if you're gaining their trust, and then to take that trust away, kind of like sales scum. If you take their trust away, you don't want to do that, because then it looks like I'm lying to the people that are at the show, and like he wasn't being honest with people. So I try and make it happy, go lucky.
Now, are there some people that just can't be hypnotized, or is it in their mind? If in their mind they say they can't be hypnotized, can they not be hypnotized?
Right. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. If you don't want to be hypnotized, I promise you won't get hypnotized. If it worked like that, I would be in every ATM machine in America just knocking people out. Taking their money. Thank you.
That's a very valid point. I never thought about it that way.
You know, they show that movie, Now You See Me, where Woody Harrelson is the hypnotist, and he's just knocking people out. It can't happen. I mean, you can confuse people, but you can't put them into a hypnotic trance without their permission, basically.
Them being willing to have that done to them. Right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, they just won't go. They'd just be like, "What are you doing?" You know.
That being said, there has to be a lot of fun things that happen on stage. Can you think of a couple of moments that really stick out to you?
I sometimes will turn a belt into a snake in their mind.
Oh boy.
And there was 2. There's one that's on my website or on YouTube, and it was a lady in Birmingham, Alabama, and she flipped out. Even after I said, it's a belt, it's a belt. She was like, why you do me like that, Doug T? Why you do me like that? And then I said, it's a belt, it's a belt. And she goes, get that. And she's just freaking out.
Yeah.
And then another boy that I did that to, I had him put it in his pocket. It was a college show. There was 1,800 students at the show.
Oh, really?
I had him put it in his pocket. I had him put it on, and then he freaked out and threw it out in the crowd. Somebody threw it back in. I had him put it in his pocket. Well, later in the show, I went, and it turned back into a snake. He was hitting it so hard with his shoe, he took it out of his pocket.
No way.
It caught his shoe, flipped up, landed around his neck, flipped out. Ran, jumped over the chairs.
So what do you do in a situation like that? Do you have
Yell
to
freeze. I yell
deprogram
freeze.
them? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually I yell freeze. Sometimes you get so loud. I had a situation at an all-boys school in St. Louis, and I had them all get mad at each other. And they couldn't hear me yelling freeze. And it was like,
You started a
it
brawl.
was like, you know, on the West Side Story, they're all walking to each other, they're all in each other's face yelling. I'm like, freeze! And you couldn't even hear me, so I had to get in the middle of it. I always tell them you're not going to punch, kick, grab anybody. But man, these guys, they were all hockey kids too.
Oh, that's
So,
even
like,
worse. Yeah.
there's two people you don't want to fight, an MMA fighter and a guy that's great on ice throwing punches. And that's a
Yeah.
hockey player.
Right.
And these guys were just screaming and yelling at each other. And it was a Catholic school too, and I think the father there was probably like, what just happened? What was going on there?
Oh, boy.
All right.
So what you're saying is go to the show, basically, is what's.
What was that?
have no
last one?
idea.
Plywood.
He's kicking the bottom of the
That
counter.
happens in my show all the time. Oh boy.
All right, folks, here's what we're going to do. If you want to go to the show tonight, pick up your phone right now. Grab your cell phone, whatever the case may be, 283-2323, 283-2323. I believe Laura's ready to go up front, so she'll take a couple of calls here. We'll get some people set up to go to the show tonight, and just that simple, to win some tickets. But you're not going anywhere. We'll be right back. This is Great Day Live on KCWI.